I don't know if it's frugality or just simplicity and being a simpleton.
Practicality, maybe.
I'll call it being practical.
There you
Yes,
go.
but I mean, I've always been like, if it is comfortable and it stays in tune, I don't care what it is, what it costs, and I don't really need more than one. There are some things I collect, vintage computers and gaming systems, which
Yeah.
are a hell of a lot more useless than guitars. So maybe I should swap that around.
Hey everybody out in YouTube land, my name is Mike and I love guitars. In today's video, we're doing another episode of the We Love Guitars podcast. Today, I have a longtime friend named Clif Haley. Clif was the guitar player for the band Plow Monday. He is currently in the band Hypersloth, and he's actually a voiceover artist. So you may be familiar with some of his work, but he is a fellow guitar player and we've been friends for a really long time. You were also the guitar player in the acoustic duo Always the Fall.
Yes, I was. Thankfully, that's really the only project that I like to tag my name onto. You could have not even mentioned the other guys. Always the
I
fall.
Yeah, I heard that the other guitar player who also sang a little bit, I heard he was a real douche.
Total douchebag. Total douchebag. You gotta remind me of that guy, actually.
I think he was a guy named Mike. Um, Still had some hair back then, but looks a lot like me,
You
but
know,
about 20 years younger, something like that. So
yeah, well, I guess the same could be said for me as well, except for the douchey part.
all right. We have the classic kind of setup here. I am the proverbial Steve Vai fanatic,
Yes, indeed.
while Cliff, you are the diehard Eddie Van Halen guy.
I am the diehard Eddie Van Halen guy, probably more diehard than anybody else that I personally know in my own circle of friends. I'm sure there are guys that go farther, like guys who actually can play Eddie Van Halen stuff.
Yeah.
I count myself among those guys, except for some basic riffs and licks. But yeah, I mean, he's the guy that kind of got me into it for sure. I'd put him at number one. I've got many other influences besides that guy, and a lot of them would maybe be surprising for somebody who's a Van Halen nut. But he is the guy who really got me into it. And I think the first time I ever saw Eddie Van Halen, and this is a weird context, is
Okay.
that I was a young kid and my aunt, who was cool, she was in high school. She went to concerts. She used to
Yeah.
sneak booze in through fake binoculars, right?
Fake binoculars.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Many times at the Frank Irwin Center. But she had a huge crush on Eddie Van Halen. Posters all
Yeah.
over the wall. And I mean, this is when I was in junior high. I had no idea who he was, but I thought he
Yeah.
looked cool. And I was like, I want to look like that guy. And it wasn't until many years later that, I got into the music and people were like, Eddie Van Halen this, Eddie Van Halen that. And I was like, well, who the hell are you talking about? Then I saw him and I was like, so that's why my aunt had a crush on this guy.
Yeah.
And so my goal was to have chicks have a crush on me. That's why I picked the guitar.
That's totally fair. I believe Kid Rock once said it best, and I will paraphrase and try and clean up the language a little bit. But he said, people ask, said, why are you in the music business?
Hmm.
It's like, well, because I love music. It's like, well, of course you love music. You're a musician. Duh. Why are you in the music business? Girls and money.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think Dee Snider said it best when he was talking about Van Halen. He was talking about that scene in the like the late 70s, early 80s, and how everybody in heavy metal was so angry and just like all the time. And then Van Halen shows up and they show everybody that rock stars have teeth and they start smiling all the time. It's like they're having a good time. It's like, what? We're allowed to have a good time? We're allowed to smile? So
Yeah, that's definitely part of my appeal as well. Hey, and I don't want to make a sharp left or right turn, but if you haven't seen the Sister documentary, put it on
I
top of your list. It's awesome.
um
We
I
are
saw
Twisted
one.
effing sister.
How recent is that? I saw something not like a few years ago.
Yeah, I saw it in like 2016 or 17. And it's one of those things that I never really had much interest in Twisted Sister, but it was on and I was bored and I was like, what the hell? And I'm still not a big Twisted Sister fan, but the documentary is fantastic.
I think that's the one I saw, and yes, it was. I'm similar. I'm not a huge Twisted Sister fan, but I'm just a music and band fan in general. And watching that, it was like, this is fascinating. Like all the things,
Right.
like the guy that was like on the plane to fly out to sign them to a record deal and had a heart attack and died on the plane. Y- like all these weird, like wild things. Like, oh my god, but yeah, I am like 80% sure that that's the documentary I saw, and yes, it was utterly fascinating. um I do the same thing. Like I'll watch documentaries from bands that I'm not particularly into,
Hmm.
but I'm just curious in general, and I just find the whole thing, like the process, like, I watched that. There's that like 4 hour long Eagles documentary from like 15 years ago. And
Hmm.
I'm not, the Eagles were a little bit before my time, and I'm not a huge Eagles fan. They do have some great songs, but I just was never like super into them. But that documentary was just mesmerizing.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Very similar to the 30 Seconds to Mars Artifact documentary. I like a few songs off of the self-titled, I think their second album. That was like the one where they had like the hits and were super popular and everything. Um, but the documentary about that was fascinating.
Oh,
So,
sure.
and they talked about the process of them trying to break out of their record contract and how draconian it was basically. And
That sounds like a record contract.
yeah, exactly. And they ended up getting sued by their record label, and just like this, it ended up being this whole thing. That was as central to the story of the documentary as like them functioning as a band. So like I said, I love all kinds of music documentaries. So
Well, I think that's one of the cool things, and it's almost like a secret power of being a musician, and especially a gigging one, is that even music that you don't like, it doesn't click with you, and you'd never put on your Spotify list, you have uh, at your disposal the ability to pick out things that you know are good, whether you're
yeah,
going to choose to listen to them or not,
yeah,
and to
yeah,
identify with experiences that other people are having because you've lived something analogous to it at some point in your musical career. I mean, I'm
yeah.
not a big rapper hip hop guy, but I can listen to it and be like, "Oh man, that thing is cool. I see what they're doing there." But you mentioned 30 Seconds to Mars, and I'm going to tell you did I ever tell you my 30 Seconds to Mars story?
I do not believe so.
Okay. So the band Plow Monday that you mentioned, we
Yeah,
were kind of sort of getting biggish in Austin.
yeah.
One of our first, like, kind of biggish gigs is we opened for 30 Seconds to Mars at Stubbs Barbecue.
Oh, nice, nice.
And I had no clue who they were. And I'd never watched whatever TV show Jared Leto was on. But every other
Yeah,
dude in my band was just gaga and tripping over themselves about this dude. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. And so they're hanging out with the green room,
yeah.
like at the bar, it's getting drinks. And I passed by Jared Leto, and I'll never forget this. It was like the middle of August in Texas. And I passed by him in the crowd, and he's wearing a scarf around his neck. And I thought, I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I thought, "Ugh, I'm not sure if I want to hang out with this guy." I mean,
Yeah,
if you're rocking a scarf in August, Texas, uh, I'll cut him benefit of the doubt. He's more successful than I am. Maybe I should start wearing a scarf.
I think the it's not a 30 Seconds to Mars thing. The biggest kind of analogy that I think I can compared that to was back in I think it was the Residue days. It was post Litany for the Departed. We were in Residue, and um, we always had a big following in Lubbock
Yeah.
because Corey, who was the other guitar player in Litany for the Departed and then the singer in Residue, he owns the Nightmare on 19th Street, like the big haunted house thing out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and he also currently owns Bat City Scaregrounds here in Austin. So,
Really? Okay.
yes.
Cool.
I say currently he owns both of them, but he's his focus. I think his partner in Lubbock kind of handles Nightmare on 19th Street now, and his focus is on Bat City Scaregrounds here in South Austin. But and of course his partner at Nightmare on 19th Street. I don't know why I just did quotations because he's his like business part, like legitimate business partner. It's not like a shady under the table thing, but his legitimate business partner, um, is Wes Nessman. He is like the big hard rock DJ out in Lubbock.
I've heard that
Um,
name before. It might have been from you, but that sounds really familiar to me.
um, Dale Dudley here in Austin at KLBJ
Yeah. Yeah.
started in Lubbock,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
his partner, like his show partner, was Wes Nessman. So they
Okay.
started together. Dale Dudley moves to Austin, and Wes kind of becomes the guy for like hard rock stuff in Lubbock. But he was able to put us in good positions for shows because of his
Yeah.
radio contacts and stuff like that. So I've really I've tied a really long tail on the story. I apologize, but one of the really cool shows, probably the best show that he was able to help us out with. We got to open for Papa Roach.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I don't remember what album cycle it was. I believe it was the album after the Getting Away with Murder single. I can't remember what the album was called. It's a really good album. That's actually
Yeah.
I went back and listened to like all the Papa Roach stuff a couple of years ago, and I think the album that they were touring for that's probably my favorite album. It's just like hit after hit, basically. But um, and we were just the small local band, um, but we pull in. It was by far the most rock star experience we had ever had,
Nice.
and I say that because we pulled in, and their crew was like they was such a well-oiled machine. When we pull into the back with our, like I was driving a Jeep Liberty pulling the trailer, so this like tiny little Jeep and this tiny little trailer. They're like, who are you guys? Like, we're Residue. We're the opener. They're like, okay, pulling right there. And when you get stopped, just unlock your trailer and we got it.
Damn.
Oh, okay. Um, which from their perspective, I'm sure they didn't want a bunch of amateurs like stumbling all over everything being in the way, but
Yeah.
it was still really nice. Like, we got all your gear for you. Don't worry about it. Awesome. They're like, okay, this section here, this is your area, like for setup, for tuning, for, if you're applying stage make, like whatever you're doing, like this is your whole area. This, 100% for you guys. Like, okay, it's kind of cool. We because of stage and honestly it was a big stage, but because of stage space we weren't allowed to bring our cabinets on stage, so
Nice.
the main support act very graciously let us plug our amps into their cabinets,
Nice.
which was nice. um but that stage, like, holy crap, man. um the side fills were louder than most main PAs that I've ever played on, ever.
Good God.
The side fills were so loud that when Ryan, our bass player, would hit just like we were tuned to um, drop C, I think at that point, and when he would just hit the open like low C, literally my teeth hurt. I'm not joking. Like it was like, the whole thing just vibrated so much, and it was glorious. Like I loved every second of it,
Oh,
but
very, very.
yes, my teeth hurt. Um,
Did your
so
fillings come out?
I'm sorry.
Did your fillings come out?
Oh no, luckily all my fillings stayed. there were no brown note situations, nothing like that. So, but it was really cool. We did our sound check, and they're like, "Okay, you guys are great." They had some suggestions like, for your solo boost, so you turn the volume down a little bit because you're coming in a little too hot for this. So like, okay, so we adjust everything. Like, great. And so then we get off stage, and they're doing some other adjustments, and Corey and I were just kind of hanging out in the club. And the way this club is built, it's like a two-story club, but the second story is basically like a balcony that goes all the way around, and it's like the balcony's encased in glass. And we look up, and there's the guys in Papa Roach doing a meet and greet. And so Corey and I kind of looked at like, hey, they're like, there's the stairs right there, and you want to? So Corey and I crashed their meet and greet.
Oh, beautiful.
I mean, we're not being disrespectful in any way. We walk up there like real quiet. We're like, don't notice us, don't pay attention. We're just gonna like hang out at the end of the line here. And the guy who was like because like the people in the line, they would say hi to the band, they would shake hands, and then they would get a picture taken. And the guy taking the pictures, like he kept kind of looking at us, and we kept, no, don't see us, nothing to see here. Pay no attention to the man in front of the curtain. So we're slowly moving, and we got to the point where the people just in front of us were talking to the band and shaking hands. And he finally stops. He walks up. He's like, "Hey, I'm running the meet and greet. Who are you guys?" We're like,
Uh-oh.
what? It's like, we're just the opening band, man. We never get to actually meet the national act. We just wanted to say hi. Like that's it. We're the openers. And he's like, "Oh, I did no problem at all. Like that's totally cool."
Oh, yeah.
All right. And so they got done. He took the picture. They got done with the fans that they were dealing with, and he announced like, "Hey guys, this is the opening band. This is I think he may have said that this is Residue. They just want to say hi." And I have to admit, the guys in Papa Roach were incredibly nice to us.
That is
Um,
cool.
there
That's
was
great.
no attitude. Like I've met some, not like a ton, but I've met a couple here and there of guys in national acts, and um, most of them have been very gracious. Some of them have
Mhm.
kind of been jerks. Um, but the Pop Roach guys were super nice. We even got a picture with them that we unfortunately never got a copy of, but
Oh,
um,
man.
it
Before
is what
digital never.
yeah, he said he would send it to Wes at the radio station, but I mean, it's cool. Like I said, we didn't exactly pay for the meet and greet. We just kind of crashed it, and they were extremely gracious about it. We did not eat any of their food, nothing like that. Although I did do that one time years ago for Better Than Ezra. That's a whole different story. My first band, Ugly Tribe. Um, but well, we'll move on. So, um, you as far as gear, you
Yeah.
have always been kind of the opposite of me. I'm the hoarder. I'm the, "Ooh, I want that guitar and that guitar and that guitar and that guitar and that guitar." You've always been far, far more frugal than me.
I'm very frugal. Yeah. And I think I don't know if it's frugality or just simplicity and being a simpleton.
Practicality, maybe.
I'll call it being practical.
There you
Yes.
go.
But I mean, I've always been like, if it is comfortable and it stays in tune, I don't care what it is, what it costs, and I don't really need more than one. There are some things I collect, vintage computers and gaming systems, which
Yeah,
are a hell of a lot more useless than guitars. So maybe I should swap that around. But yeah, so I mean, the best guitars I've ever had, I mean, best in terms of like what you would consider to be like pro level guitars, right?
yeah,
Is I had two, not at the same time,
yeah.
um, two American Fender Stratocasters.
Nice.
And the first one was stolen out of a car. And while it was missing, I bought who knows what and used it. But then the stolen one was found and I went retrieve it.
Yeah,
And that was great. I then immediately lost it at a pawn shop. I'm sure you can sympathize with this
yeah,
situation. Um, But thanks to Ryan Holly,
Yeah.
who's still very active in Austin,
Yep.
was the other guitar player in Plow Monday, my old
Yep.
band.
Yep.
He was the manager of that big pawn shop on South Lamar where all
I
the stuff
so miss
came.
that place. That
Me
place
too,
was
man.
glorious.
And I worked there for a while, and I really
Yeah.
miss that.
Yeah. I will
What
have Ryan on very soon
you
for an
should.
episode to talk specifically about that pawn shop and everything he did because it was so amazing.
That could be an entire show by itself.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I that's what I want to have him on a couple of times, and I want one of them to just be about the pawn shop.
Yeah, I can't. I was like, I don't. I want to say I was assistant manager, maybe of like the day or night shift.
Yeah.
It was great, but I think the coolest thing we ever had there, which we always had something cool, but the coolest thing we had and sold, and we sold it for like five figures, was a 1932 Gibson electric with the amp that it came with in 1932. And I want to
Wow.
say that it went for, yeah, it was in great shape too.
Yeah.
Um, and if I remember correctly, I think it was like a lap steel or something, but,
Nice.
but I think it sold for about 30 grand.
That
Um,
sounds about right.
but it was, thanks to Ryan's connection there before I worked there that I got my second, uh, Strat, and it was cream colored. It was awesome. Whoever had it before me had taken the bridge pickup out and replaced it with I forgot what they call it. It's some kind of jazz pickup.
Yeah.
And you can't see the coils. It's real smooth. And it gave it a real rounded, throaty kind of sound that I didn't really expect from a Strat.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. So I bought it. I kept it. Again, lost it at a pawn shop, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that was probably the last like real guitar I had, if we're talking
Yeah.
serious quality. I got like my current guitars. I've got a Yamaha acoustic something or other. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. Doesn't sound that great, but
Yeah.
great campfire guitar. I've got this, I don't know if you can even see what I'm pointing at, but a Yamaha fretless bass.
Yeah.
I
Unfortunately, I cannot see the not in this view. Maybe okay. There we go. Yeah.
oh, fretless bass.
And
Uh,
it's your PV to the right of that
that's the
on
PV
my screen.
Predator. That
Yeah.
that guy is the one that opened for 30 seconds tomorrow.
Yeah. You've had that
Over
one for a long
here,
time. I remember that one.
just recognize that guy.
Oh yeah. So if anyone has been watching my channel for a while, if you go back through my old videos, that is I made a video with that guitar as an EVH shootout. I think that one I might have compared to my buddy Bill's the Frankenpaul, the Les Paul that he basically got a just a husk of a Les Paul given to him, a 79 Les Paul, and he had it repainted Eddie Van Halen style.
Yeah, I
So
believe so.
yeah,
And then, I mean, the only other thing I have is a Yamaha fretted bass, and it's nothing special. But I mean, I
yeah,
guess the whole point is if it feels good, I can play it and it stays in tune. That's all I need. And I don't play enough to really need more than that. But,
yeah. That's totally
you know,
fair.
I think that really, if we're talking like what I really cared about when it came to, making sure I had the best of the best that I could get my hands on for whatever money I had, because I always just went straight into the amp.
Yeah,
I never used pedals. It was just added a layer of complexity that, I mean, I have a hard enough time playing guitar by itself. Why do I want to add more to it that I've got to learn and tinker with? So I'd always go straight in, which means the only thing that I had to control my sound was the amp. So I
yeah,
always made sure I had a good amp. I had JCM 800s. I had Mesa Boogies. In fact, one of my coolest setups that I liked anyway was I had a little Mesa Boogie Maverick 2x12 combo.
yeah.
And you're familiar with a Maverick? It's got a unique sound for a Mesa Boogie.
I know the name. I don't know that I've ever heard one. Um,
If you can imagine, like, take it just what you would consider the Mesa Boogie sound, especially around that time,
yeah, yeah.
and mash it with like a Fender Tweed.
Okay,
It was like that. It was just as aggressive and nasty, but it had this rounded, soft edge to it. I don't know.
nice.
It's like, I don't know, a shark with round teeth, I guess. It was
That's
really
fair.
cool.
Yeah.
And I would plug that live. I'd plug that into a Marshall 4x12, and it would
Yeah.
sound awesome. But, so I really had to care about what I was playing through just because my guitars were more, well, practical. Like you said, they were
Yeah.
utilitarian. They were like, I just
Yeah.
needed something to make the notes. Let's
Yeah.
use this to make it sound good.
There you go. And, of course, now you have the noisy mushroom.
I have the noisy mushroom thanks to you because I
Yeah.
have that Bugera.
Yeah. Um, so it's the 6260, correct? Is the model that
The,
Bugera?
the 6260, and
Yeah.
it's not on top of the amp. It's not a mushroom anymore, but yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
had a little, 1x12 or whatever, and the
Yeah.
big head set on it and it looked like a mushroom, but it's behind some stuff, but I got it over here.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I got that. I want to say so right around the beginning of 2020 with everything that was going on, there were just deals in pawn shops everywhere.
Mhm.
And I got some of the best. Yeah, actually, I think I bought that maybe 2019 because I had it for a little while, like at most a year. And then it was early 2020 when I found the actual EVH 5153, my 50 watt. I found
Mhm.
that in a pawn shop for $323.
Dear God.
Yeah.
Well,
And it was like, I didn't even realize when I put it on layaway that it was that cheap. I was just
really?
like, yeah. Cause it was like, I don't know how it lasted so long, but a lot of pawn shops now, they do the thing where they put it out
Mhm.
and then they put the sticker, like it's got the price on it, but then like 3 months later the price drops, and they print on the sticker, so it's like 3 months later the price drops, 3 months after that the price drops again, 3 months after that the price drops again. Somehow it had lasted in this pawn shop until the price dropped all the way.
That is insane.
And I just like when I found it, and I want to say it was originally marked at like $600 or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So, which even that's a deal for
Yeah.
those amps are like 900 new. So, or at least they were at that time. So I immediately grabbed it, like, here, put $100 on it. And it wasn't until like a week later I was looking at the receipt. It's like, how much do I owe on this thing? I only owe 220, like, yeah, $223. Like, how is that possible? And then I finally figured out, like, oh, like when I got it, when I paid it off, I looked at the sticker. Somehow it had just never been bought in almost a year, and it had just been, and I had even been in that pawn shop like the week before I put it on layaway and somehow never saw it
Maybe
because
nobody else saw it either. That's what
I
happened.
guess, because I like the week before I had found a Gibson Tribute, which was I don't think they make them anymore. They only made them for a few years. Um, but it was like one step down from a Les Paul Studio.
Mhm.
But I think they had maple necks on them, which I liked. They they had like medium frets on them, which I'm not a huge. I don't like the super jumbo frets, but I like jumbo frets.
Yeah, I agree.
So the
I
medium
agree.
frets were a little small for my taste, but I think I found that for like 500 and maybe like $40, something like that. Um, and then I also found a PRS SE for like 480 like the next week. So like I
Jeez.
said, right there in early 2020, when everything was going crazy, there were just so many insane deals. And I'll have to, and my day job, the company I work for, we kind of tend to, um, our product is for like nonprofits and social programs and stuff like that, which it's like a converse effect of like, if overall, if people are doing worse, like the people who use our software, it's like a big boom times for them.
Mhm.
Therefore, our company does better. So and I don't want that to sound greedy. It's just the reality of the software that we make is used for helping people in need.
Yeah.
So there's a greater demand for it when there's a greater need for help. So because things were going pretty well, like, man, I bought a lot of gear in 2020. I'll be honest. Um, but going back to Ryan and the pawn shop there that you guys both used to work at, I mean, and I remember I started going to that pawn shop when it was still the Doc Holidays
Mhm.
before it was the Cash America.
It was Doc
Um,
Holidays when I worked there, yeah.
yeah, and I think still I have like a cream colored Strat that I'm pretty sure I got from there. I've got my like a '04, I think, Gibson SG Special that I got from there. And then I believe my Marshall JCM 2000 I got from there.
Oh,
And
wow.
of course, being friends with Ryan, he would always cut me really good deals on it. So um but yeah, I loved that pawn shop, and it just wasn't the same after he left. And then I don't think it lasted but maybe 2 or 3 more years after he
Mhm.
left before they shut it down. So um I don't know. At times it kind of feels like he was the heart and soul of that place.
I think he definitely was, and, he wouldn't just hook up guys like, you know, that he knew with deals. I mean, he was always cutting deals because he was a musician himself. I mean, he got, it's always a tough time for a musician. If you can cut somebody a deal who's on his side, then he's gonna do it. But, yeah, I got a lot of stuff from Ryan through that thing. And in fact, that Mesa Boogie Maverick I mentioned, I got it from him because what I had been playing through was, this JCM 800 single combo, and it
Yeah.
had, like, a
I,
single 14 in it,
yeah.
and that single 14 was the loudest effing amp I've ever had in my life, and I would
Yeah.
still plug it into my 4 by 12 cabinet. It was insane, but somebody broke into my car and stole that thing,
Oh,
and, right before we were going to LA for a showcase, and Ryan was like, "Well, I've got this Maverick." He said, "Tell you what," he said, "we just take it." He said, "I'll pay for it for you. We'll just
yeah.
take this and you can pay for it when we get back." And I was like, "Thank God."
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
getting back to this Bugera, had you heard of Bugera at all when you bought that amp, and how did you find it? Because I had never heard of Bugera.
So I was aware of Bugera. Bugera is, um, you're familiar with the company Behringer? It's like a
Yeah.
German, I believe, owned company, but all their products are like made in China, that kind of thing. And they trying to think of the diplomatic way to say this. They make very low cost clones
Mhm.
of existing equipment. Um, they do have a very controversial public presence. I think
I
is
would
the best
imagine.
way to word that. And I was aware of them. I had never owned a Bugera amp. And I came across it in a pawn shop for like 350, something like that. I don't remember how much.
Mhm.
But it was cheap enough. And at the time, as I've owned 2 different Bugera amps at this point, and I bought them both around the same time. But I had that one, and I had the Bugera Tri-Rec, which is that one is not, like, from what I've read, the Bugera 6260 that I sold to you
Mhm.
is basically a direct copy of the original the PV 5150.
I think so, yeah.
That's not gospel. Like, anyone watching this video or listening to this later, don't crucify me for getting any details wrong. That's what I've read. I don't know about the circuit. That's just what I've read. The Tri-Rec, again, what I've read is it's more of a inspired by the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. It was like a 3-channel kind of rectifier-ish amp.
Mhm.
And at the time, I didn't own an EVH amp and I didn't own a rectifier, but I wanted those kinds of sounds just for different textures for, and that's really like all the guitars and all the amps. That's how this all started, was doing recording on my own and just wanting different textures for different parts.
Right.
And that's, I kind of think of it like painting a picture, and like these are different brushes and these are different paints. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh.
so but I found both of those in a pawn shop, maybe even the same pawn shop. I don't remember. but I found them both right about the same time, and they were both right around $300 to $400. Um, and then I got the EVH amp in 2020, so I sold the Bugera 6260 to you, and then ended up with two Mesa Boogies over time from
Damn.
friends. And so just actually ended up selling the Bugera, I think last year. I sold it on Reverb. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, that's it. Just kind of, like I said, just found them in pawn shops and just looking, I was just looking for different sounds, different textures to use when recording. And that's how I mean, I kind of, at this point, I've got so much stuff. It's kind of like, well, I've never had one of those before. That looks cool. And I make enough money that, if as long as it's a decent deal, it's not
Right.
going to break the bank. Um,
And thank God for Layaway.
yes, as I've discussed before, my favorite pawn shop, which is in Cedar Park now. Oh my God, this place is so amazing. 20%. Well, the standard is 20% down, but I've bought so much stuff from them and have been shopping there for so many years. They'll let me put $20 down on something, even if it's like a $2,000 item. Like
Oh,
they'll,
nice.
they'll hold stuff in the back. If I say, "Hey, let me get you in 2 weeks," they're like, "Okay, we'll put your name on it. We'll stick it in the back."
That's a good
Um,
connection to have.
yes, and as long as you pay something every month, it doesn't like you don't. It can be $10. Pay something. Take as long as you want to pay it off. There's no
Mhm.
limit. And so, I mean, I've got a 335. I'm getting close to paying off, but I got a 335. It's been on layaway for like 2 years at this point.
Damn.
And they're totally cool. Like, as long as I'm coming in and paying every month, they don't mind. And like I said, I know it was close to, it's a really nice one. It was close to $3,000, I think was the sticker price. Of course that's the other thing too, is like they immediately knock 20% off of whatever, just because it can be something they literally put out 3 hours before I walked in the door. Because it's me, they'll immediately knock 20% off of it.
You
Um,
know, I was going to ask you, like, at any given time, because every time I talk to you,
yeah,
there's something new you have on layaway and something you're paying off. So I was
yeah.
just wondering, at any given time, on average, how many items are you paying off on layaway?
Well, are we talking musical instrument related things or just things in general? Because that's
Music.
two
Well,
separate.
let's talk music.
Okay. At least two things at any given time. Um, it has been as many as 5 guitars at once in various pawn shops. Um, right now, I have the Gibson 335 on layaway. I have a Gibson Vegas on layaway,
Mhm.
which, oh, this thing is so cool. I'd never heard of them until I saw it. And then I went and watched a couple of videos online once I saw it in the pawn shop. And like, um,
I'm going to make a note of that. What's that? The
the
Vegas?
Gibson Vegas, they only made it for like, I think maybe 1 year, like 2016.
Okay.
Um, so are you familiar with the difference between a 335 and a 339?
Offhand, no, but I know I was at one point.
Okay. So really the only difference is a 339 is just smaller. It's like a smaller body size.
That's probably why I
Um,
know, because I'm a small guy. So I like
yeah, there
small
you go.
guitars.
It's closer to Les Paul scale. It's slightly bigger than a Les Paul, but not as big as a 335. Um, a Vegas is like 339 sized
Hmm.
with the Trini Lopez style diamond shaped F holes
Mm. Hmm.
and like the Firebird headstock, kind of like the Dave Grohl signature model, the Trini Lopez signature model,
Oh, wow.
but it's also offset slightly. So instead of just being like the perfectly symmetrical curves, like the top side of it shifted up and the bottom side shifted down.
Okay,
So
that's
it's like
cool.
that slanted, skewed offset thing. So it's like a 339 with diamond F holes, Firebird headstock offset. And it's just uncommon enough to be weird, which anything like, it's particularly if it's like a Gibson, like any like big brand name, Gibson, Fender, if it's weird, I love it.
Mhm.
Just by default, I love it. If it's something that people are going to see me pull out of a case and go,
What the
"What
hell
is
is this?
that?" I win. So
Especially if it's a name that they are familiar with.
yes, exactly. So I've got the 335, I've got the Vegas, and in a different pawn shop. Oh man. And it's kind of a reveal for actually all three of these guitars are going to be like reveals for later videos. But this one, I found, and it's made in Mexico, but most of this brand is these days. But it's like still one of their higher ends. I found for a kind of a shocking price. I won't say how much right now, but a the full model name is a mouthful, but it's a Charvel
Mm-hmm.
roasted maple neck and fretboard. I think it's humbucker 2 single coils. It's got a tremolo, but it's not like a Floyd Rose, like not locking, but it does have locking tuners on. It's like a $1,300 retail guitar.
Huh.
So, and when you talk about like a made in Mexico guitar being $1,300, those are like top end
Oh, sure.
made in Mexico guitars. Not that there's anything wrong with made in Mexico guitars. I've said many times in recent videos that the import guitars of the last few years have absolutely blown me away compared to
Mm-hmm.
what they were when I was a teenager. But the best part, the pickups and knobs are like bright white, and the body is pink.
Oh, really?
It's very pink. So that's the only thing that's like a little, like not exactly my cup of tea, because I've never thought to myself, you know what I want? A pink guitar.
It's very
But
1987.
yeah, I mean it's not even like a hot pink though. It's like a powder pink. It's like
Even better.
like a slightly light colored Pepto Bismol pink, I guess is a good way to say it. So but it definitely has like an 80s vibe to it. Which, that's all those Charvels do. But I saw it, and like I said, it was a fantastic price for what it was. So yeah, that's the third guitar I have on layaway now. And I will say I'm doing good only having 3 guitars on layaway now. I have a couple of other things that are completely unrelated, also on layaway, but only having 3 guitars, that's good for me. And again, just because this pawn shop where I have the 2 Gibsons on layaway, they just make it too easy. And other than the pawn shop that you and Ryan used to work at, like they consistently get nicer guitars like
Mm.
regularly than any other pawn shop I've ever seen. I don't know how I bought 4 or 5 Gibsons from them over the years. Like the 79 Gibson DePaul that I recently made a video on, I got that from them. The SGJ that I recently made a video on, I got that from them. Um, I haven't made a video for it yet. It's going to be one of my next videos. I have a 339 that I got from them. The 2014, that one,
Mm-hmm.
2014 P right there. That one I got from them. So yeah, I mean, I bought, and that's just the Gibsons that I bought from. I bought several others from them too. I mean, I've probably bought in total at least 8 guitars from them and 4 amps over the years. So
Damn. Well, I want
like,
you to. I'm going to ask a favor of you because
sure.
I need to get in the layaway game because I want a new acoustic guitar. And I told you I got this little Yamaha thing that sounds good enough for campfire stuff, but acoustic really now is all I play, and I want something that sounds a lot better. So I'm really starting to look for. Well, I'm starting to think about looking for something serious like a Martin or a
Okay.
Gibson.
Okay.
Um, I haven't checked anything around here, but this isn't like a big music scene, so I'm not expecting much. I'm going
Yeah.
to check
Yeah.
it out maybe this weekend or next week. So if you see anything, just let me know. I come through there at least sometimes once a week, at least once every 2 weeks to meet a business partner of mine. So I
Yeah.
could stop by and put something on layaway
Okay.
or, make payments on it. Or I'm going to make a note of this too. What's the name of that pawn shop?
That pawn shop is Best Pawn in Cedar Park.
Okay, cool. I might stop by. I may have to actually go there by the end of this week, and I'm gonna stop by and check that out.
Okay. I don't think they have any particularly great acoustics right now. I could kick myself for missing out on them, but at the time, I just had too much on layaway already. But I think maybe 2 years ago,
Mhm.
they had a Gibson SJ200 and a Gibson Dove at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, they wanted like 2 grand for each of them.
Oh, sure.
Um, yeah, but I often, because I've got a couple of acoustics, nothing amazing. My favorite acoustic is my 79 Guild D35, but it needs work. It really, really needs work.
Oh, really?
It's kind of unplayable at the moment, just because the action is so high. Because okay, so we'll tell that story too. Um, so my biological father bought that guitar new in 1979.
I was gonna ask you if this is that guitar, 'cause I
Yes.
remember you mentioning a, 79 before.
Okay. Yes. This is that guitar. But when my brother was 18 ish, I think somewhere around there, my parents, one of the few times that they ever like got together to do something after my biological father left when we were young. Um, I can't remember I don't know how it came about, but my mom paid my father some money
Mhm.
and he agreed to sell it to her for cheap as a Christmas present or birthday present, whichever one, for my brother at the time. My brother had some substance abuse issues
Mhm.
and ended up selling it to a friend of his a couple of years later for something like 60 bucks to get
Wow.
money to feed his addiction.
Man.
And, we just like, okay, it's gone. Like, we'll never see it again. Years later, the guy's name was Mark. He was a nice guy. Years later, he ended up moving in with his grandmother, who happened to live directly across the street from my sister and the house that they had in Houston. And, we talked, and I even like a couple of times over the years, like, and he would like my sister would throw parties at her house and he would like come over to the parties and like hang out. Like I said, he was a nice guy.
Mhm.
Um, and so like I think twice over the years, I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I just want to play that guitar. Do you mind if I just come over for like 5 minutes?" And oh yeah. So he always was gracious about that and let me come over and play it and check it out. And then after a couple of years, one day he just knocked on my sister's door
Mhm.
and said, "Here, take this back." And she's
Wow.
like, "What?" He's like, "I've never felt right about how this all went down. I know you care about this guitar. I know Mike cares about this guitar. Um, and I bought it from your brother for a pittance. Like, I bought it for 60 bucks because it's all the money I had, and he was so desperate for money.
Mhm.
It's like, and I've never felt okay about it. I know it's worth way more than that. So here, just take it back." And I can't remember. It was close to Christmas time when that happened. And I can't remember if my sister even told me at the time that she had gotten it back. But that Christmas, she gave it to me for Christmas
Mm.
because she knew that I wouldn't lose it. Uh, short version. So, but while he had it though, the bridge, as will often happen on older acoustics, the bridge had popped off,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
and him not really knowing any better, he just grabbed some wood glue and just slapped it back on and called it done.
Yikes.
Yeah, and so it's not sitting flush, it's kinda raised up, it creates really high, it just needs a lot of work,
Mhm.
and at this point, like, the neck may even need to be reset, so it needs work. My buddy Ethan is currently, like, learning, uh, to rebuild old acoustics, just as a passion project. He bought several, old harmonies from pawn shops for really cheap, and he's, like, gutting them completely and learning like everything how to rebuild them from scratch.
Wow.
Um, And so he's like, "Once I get good enough, I want you to give me a shot at that guild." Okay, fair enough, because I don't play it right now because it's the action is so high. It's murder. And and I've been playing guitar for over 30 years. I've got good
Mhm.
calluses. It's murder to play that guitar.
I can't imagine. I mean,
So,
sometimes acoustics are, if you're not used to them, they're murder anyway.
yeah, yeah. Um, so so yeah, that's the story of my 79 Guild D35, and it will get restored one day to top condition. Um, I would like a nice Gibson or like a nice, um, maybe a nice Martin. I always go back and forth between Martin and Taylor. Sometimes I like Martin more, sometimes I like Taylor more. So one day I'll wanna get a nice one of those. The high-end Takaminis are nice too. That's ESP really, it's just their acoustic line.
Yeah, I'd be
Um,
down for Taylor too myself.
yeah. So I'll keep an eye out for you though. For sure would like a nice acoustic myself, and I just in general, like, if I see guitars that I know specific friends would be interested in, I take pictures all the time. Like, every time I go in a pawn shop, if I see a cool guitar, I take a picture of it, and, like, I'll send it to this person, that person, if I'm not looking to buy it myself, so
Right. Well, I'm in the market, man. If you see something, send me a picture for sure.
absolutely. Well, we've been going for, getting close to an hour now.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah.
It feels like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and again, that's as we discussed before, this is the whole idea of really the basis for my channel and also for starting the podcast is just I just love sitting down and talking guitars and inspirations and amps and pedals and just I just love talking about all of it. And I do this anyway with friends. I sit
Mhm.
down and we just talk for hours about all things guitar related. So might as well turn a camera on.
Why the hell
So,
not? Well, I would
yeah.
gladly do it again. Next time, I'm going to fix my lighting situation.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. We will have you on again soon. So I do appreciate it. Um, if you would like to share any social media, how can people contact you? Feel free if you want to remain anonymous and private. Don't feel like you need to.
no, just go to find other ways to find me anywhere. Just go to my website, clifhaley.me, not .com or .net, clifhaley.me. It's not like regularly updated, but it's got links to everything else. And it's mostly just stupid stuff I write that is dumb and makes no sense. Not really a lot of music, but what the hell? If you're bored, check it out.
Yeah, I would say that's one thing that we didn't mention in the intro because it's not technically music related. Is you're also an author,
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I write stuff every now and then.
and you have a couple of books.
I do. I've got like three. There's only one that I'm kind of proud of, which is the book of stupid stuff that I put out a
Yeah,
couple of years ago. You can
the
find that
junk
on
drawer book.
too. Yeah, the junk
Yeah.
drawer book. And
I gut laughed so many times reading that.
did you really?
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought it was hilarious. So,
Well, shit. I'm working on junk drawer two. Well, working on means I'm thinking about it.
yeah.
I'm also working on one called what's it called? It's called Let's Get Side Hustling. How to turn the hobbies you love into side gigs you'll end up hating. And it's each chapter is going to tackle a different hobby and how you can monetize it to the point of hating the hell out of it by the end of it.
I have always, when I'm talking about you to other friends, I have always called you the king of multiple revenue streams.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
you do that better than anyone else I know. Um, you figured out, and that's what I guess. I mean, it only makes sense that you would write a book about taking your hobbies and figuring out a way to monetize. And um, what I always tell people is like, no one thing he does other than like his day job makes enough money to pay all the bills. But when you combine everything together, he makes enough money to actually do pretty well for himself. So,
Yeah. But in the end, I mean, I think all that crap I do is mainly because I like it, right?
yeah.
I mean, like the money I make off the voiceover or selling this stupid little book is cool, and it's a little extra motivation that kind of helps me out sometimes. But in the end, I just like it. That's why there's no rush on getting either one of these new books done, and that's why 85% of the songs I have sitting on my hard drive are nothing but one verse and one chorus because I like it. I'm not making money with it is secondary. I just like putting it together and writing it. And once I get to a certain point, another idea hits me, and I'm onto that. And if it doesn't get finished, I don't care. It's just fun to do.
Well, that's one of the reasons why doing the audio demos for these YouTube videos are so great is
Oh,
because
sure.
it's like
I bet.
I only have to write like 2 to 3 riffs. And there's most of my audio demos started life as full songs. I just cut them down, but there are even some that are like if you go back to videos from a year or two ago, they're like twice as long as they are now,
Mhm.
but I've had some people say, "Hey, your audio demos, they're like they kind of border on a little too long." Okay, so I just hack pieces until it flows more smoothly. As a result, a lot of my videos are a little shorter than they used to be, which I guess is a good thing, depending on how you look at it. Like my buddy Shelby says he wish I would make significantly longer videos because he loves the long form,
Mhm.
but my YouTube analytics suggest I should keep them lean and mean. So,
Listen to analytics. That's what it pays the bills, I guess. At the end of the day,
well,
make two versions.
I
Make
mean,
get your Patreon going, man. Have the long form there.
I was gonna say the theoretically, hopefully, eventually, maybe one day, the analytics will pay the bills. Right now, not so much, but that's okay. Like because, like I said, I do this because this is I just turn a camera on to do what I'm already going to do anyway, which is talk to my buddies about guitars. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah. Oh man, there's one other thing I was going to mention, and I'm totally blanking on it now. So I guess it's not that important, um, but anyway, so yeah, we'll go ahead and call it. I really appreciate you jumping on. I absolutely would like to do it again soon.
For sure.
Um, because again, man, I just love hanging out and talking guitars. So,
Yeah. Whenever, let me know, and I'll pencil it in.
all right,
I'm ready to go.
sounds good. All right, thank you very much, sir. We will do it again soon. And Mike and Cliff signing off.
See ya.
Ooh. The wife is gonna kill me, but it's gonna be worth it.